I've been loving this conversation. There's two more things I want to get in. I know we've been speaking for quite some time, but there's two more things I want to get in. As you know, I'm a diehard American at heart. If you cut me open, I'd bleed red, white, and blue. My parents are originally from Europe, but I was born in the States. I claim Texas as my home because that's where, I fell in love with the States even more and spent a lot of my adult years. But I'm also an international that's seen much of the world. And when I was growing up during the Cold War, I always went to American schools and I was always in international communities where there were a lot of Americans. And the concept of American exceptionalism was a principal belief that I grew up with. Okay. Yeah. This concept that we grew out of the Great Depression into the Second World War, where we don't just stand for a capitalist lifestyle, but we stand for fairness, for chances for all, equality, that our concept of democracy is important, and we enforce that in the world, and that's how we justified getting involved in the world. I think we have, in many cases, a dismal track record in a lot of continents where we did exactly the opposite, where we didn't endorse the democratic process, but we endorsed despots instead. But there was, I think, like with every human being, there's always a struggle, inner struggle. I think on the whole, this concept of American exceptionalism was, and it has had a huge influence in the world. Stupid things, cultural things like the type of music people listen, the fact that people drink Coke, that people love hamburgers, that people love jeans, that even the cultures that hate us. I mean, if you talk about, for example, when I go to countries like Saudi, or I go to Dubai, or I have a lot of Iranian friends. A lot of people say, "How can you be friends with them? They absolutely hate Americans." You don't have a single clue. I know Iranians who are more patriotic American than some of the Americans I know. Okay, there's kind of a love-hate relationship, but there was something about our mission wasn't just to make a buck off everybody and take advantage of people and dominate the world economy. But there was, and that's how we kind of grew into this world policeman and stuff and we've constantly gone through this cycle of, where we're very exposed and we kind of get beat up and then we go back into isolationism and it kind of goes in that cycle. Let me ask you, do you believe that we in America have a responsibility? Do you believe in American exceptionalism? Do you believe that we have a responsibility to live up to our ideals, even if we don't always live up to them ourselves?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. I think it's in our blood. It's who we are. We take care of each other. That's what the country was built on, and we need to spread that around the world. Yeah. Not forcibly, but we need to be there for the little guy. Yeah. and we need to be the promoter in a consistent fashion. And that's part of the problem is that we have not been consistent. And so frankly, even our European allies begin to say, which America is this?
Yeah.
Which one am I getting? And am I going to keep it in 4 years? Yeah. So if
you know what, the Europeans are, the Europeans are there. Yeah, Europeans are invested in this concept of American exceptionalism, and I think they've been shocked the last couple of years. To, the whole question on how we stand on the Ukraine one way or the other is shocking. The kowtowing to the Russians is something that I would have never, you in a million years would have never guessed that anybody.
I don't think Ronald Reagan would.
I think he's turning over in his grave. But he would be a rhino today.
That's correct. Yeah. But I guarantee you, with presidents like Reagan, I think like Clinton, certainly Bush, I think we would have been drawing a line for Vladimir Putin. Yeah. He wants to draw lines. We can draw lines. And at some point you have to say, look, this is what we're standing for. We're not going to back down. Yeah. And we have to make that clear. I think it's a fascinating statement that we hear over and over and over again in different forms that what we do projects not only to our allies, but to our enemies. Yeah. And we need to be crystal clear We need to be transparent with our enemies. We need to let them know this is how far you can go. And if you go over that line, we will be there.
And I will say this. I think the very fact that Donald Trump got voted has had a huge negative domino effect on the world.
Yeah.
If you have one dominant family member that can misbehave, everybody else thinks it's
okay.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. We can do the same.
Yeah.
And a lot of the same polemic and a lot of the same rhetoric is popping up over the world, and I find it dramatic. I think in many ways,
when it seems dark,
yeah,
you get that little spark that says, "Wow, people are still the